Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Remember 11, The Age of Infinity. And last time, we got zapped back into Kokoro's body. That's Kokoro, I guess I could say, because it's been zapping that ain't been into Kokoro's body, but it wasn't Kokoro, and this is already a little confusing. We're here in the cabin. Let's say that. We're in the cabin. Kokoro, all of her, as far as we know, is in the cabin. So let's put it at the confusion. So let's find out what Satoru was up to while he was there. While he was in residence in Kokoro's body. It's not a normal thing to say. And it sounds like it can mean more than one thing.
逃げ出そうとしたんだよ、きっと。彼は僕の話を信じなかったんじゃないかな。自分が心の中に生まれた別人格に過ぎないという事実を認めたくなかったんだと思う。
I guess that makes sense that somebody would want to admit that. Oh. So I'm not really real? This Kokoro girl, she's a real person, but I'm not. I'm just like an alternate version inside of her own brain. I can chill with that. Ah, cool. You can deal with that. And not very many people would say that. Although when you think about it, that'd be a lot less responsibility. You know, like, I'm just gonna eat some cheese puffs. I don't care if I get fat. I'm gonna order pizza too. I have money. I don't have money, but she does. A cheese puff in my pizza animation hand is the same. My heart skipped a beat. The way he spoke, it was as if he knew everything. Just as though he...
いい加減にしろ!
She ain't liking this. Suddenly Mayuzumi yelled out in frustration. Flinging off her blanket, she jumped to her feet. She glared at me with her eyes wide open.
その子の嘘にいつまで踊らされてるつもり?
Looks like she's trying to say I'm making this all up.
別に嘘なんて。うるさい! 私はあんたの思い通りにはならないわ。
She looked as if she was going to hit me at any moment. Her eyes looked so angry they made me take a couple steps back from her.
教えてくれないか?
Emogi lit a cigarette. Taking a puff, he pointed towards Mayuzumi with a hand holding a cigarette.
どうして嘘だと思う?
He caught Mayuzumi off guard.
それは
Biting her lip, she fell silent.
理由があるのか?
なんであんたに言わなくちゃいけないの?
知っているなら教えてもらわないとな。君なんて眠れやしない。
私はあんたの安眠のためにいるんじゃないわ。
Emogi chuckled as he took another
僕
puff.
は君たちのことがさっぱり理解できない。僕の知らないところではいろいろ起きてるみたいだが。
Felt the same way too. I needed someone to explain what was going on.
さっきの君は結城堂悟のことを知ってるような口ぶりだったな。湯川さん、いや、結城堂君も舞泉のことを知っているようだった。さっきは否定してたが、本当に二人とも知り合いじゃないのか?
Again with that just now. What exactly did he mean when he said just now? Emogi looked straight at me, who was getting even more confused. I only shook my head. First time I'd ever met Mayuzumi was in this cabin.
少なくともその女とは知り合いじゃないわ。
少なくともということは、結城堂君とは知り合いなのか?
関係ないでしょ。バカらしい。付き合ってられないわ。
Mayuzumi did know the person named Yukido Satoru. Her reaction said it loud and clear. I didn't know what kind of relationship the two of them had. One thing was certain, it was something Mayuzumi was angry about. As things stand now, it had already gotten quite awkward between us. We were supposed to be coming together and doing our best to make it through this, but now the atmosphere in the cabin had gotten worse. So Perhaps we should be nice. I'm pretty curious about it. But then again, she does seem kind of like the person to fly off the handle, and it doesn't seem like that would be a good thing in the situation. Despite the fact that maybe it'd be good if she flew off the handle earlier rather than later. Because I figure Mayuzumi's gonna be flying off something. I apologize.
眉住さん。
何よ。
Bow my head
ごめ
deeply.
んなさい。あなたを怒らせちゃったみたい。でも信じてください。私は嘘はついてないし、あなたをからかっているわけでもないんです。
Mayuzumi looked at me with suspicion in her
湯
eyes.
川さんが謝ってるんだ。ここは仲直りと行こうじゃないか。
Omega tried to play the peacekeeper. Mayuzumi just let out a snort of contempt and started walking away from me.
謝るくらいなら初めから変なこと言うんじゃないわよ。そんなことよりもあんた早くご飯の準備しなさいよ。たくどんくさいわね。
She pointed at Yomogi as she vented her anger at him with those
こっ
words.
ちはもうお腹ペコペコなのよ。
ああ、そうだったな。飯がまだだった。眉住も腹が減ってるからイライラするんだよな。よし、とっとと飯にしよう。お湯も沸いてるみたいだしな。
Said as he glanced at the aluminum pot sitting on top of the stove. White steam rose up from the aluminum pot,
今日は何食べるの？
and he asked as he peeked into the cardboard excuse me, into the cardboard box where all the emergency rations were kept.
そうだな。
Yomogi thought about it for a while, and
みんな
then
は何を食べたい？
inquired of us. Chukadon. Guess stew. I don't know. I'm not much of a cook, but that seems like to be the easiest thing to do. So, I mean, we have rations we need to keep track of, you know. So that seems like the best thing to do. Glad it wasn't awkward. Stew, porridge. What? So, good thing it's or it might be one of those things where they say the same thing regardless. Author of it said in perfect unison.
満場一致か。実は僕もシチューが食べたいと思ってたんだ。やっぱり最初の飯くらいはうまいものが食べたいよな。
As he nodded his head and muttered, "Mm-hmm." Yomogi took out 4 servings of stew from the cardboard
じ
boxes.
ゃあみんなはお椀を準備してくれ。
He quickly took the bowls and spoons out of the cardboard boxes. With this, it really was kind of incredible. In fact, the 4 of us all agreed on what to eat. It was as if the moment I had decided I wanted to eat some stew, that thought was broadcast to everyone else. Sounds like they're giving themselves an escape plan for when it's the same way every time. It's gonna be really weird when they all want chukadon. I mean, that's pretty common thing over there. Maybe it's an easy thing to make. I don't know. Or maybe we could think of it another way. From the very beginning, everyone's decisions have already been determined. Well, that's not exactly it either. I'm not the type to believe in fate. I don't believe in that kind of dream. I'm just not that kind of a romantic. Let me consider a romanticism, okay. Maybe you can try to think of it like this. Everyone's decisions were all made by some kind of unseen existence. Yeah, right, I'm such an idiot. There's no way something like that would happen. That does sound like just a bit romantic, doesn't it? As I tried to shake off the strange feelings, put the stew ingredients Yomogi had handed to me into my bowl. It's in darkness.
ところで、
Be honest, I was a little afraid the game might have broken there. As suddenly as I brought the warm stew to my
あの
lips.
新聞ってどうなったんですか？
Oh, okay, he's cool. He's cool with it. The others are. That single question, the atmosphere that had thawed froze once again. I may have said something I shouldn't have, but I didn't even want to think about that newspaper article in the first place. Why did I ask a question like that? It feels so strange, so unbelievable. Once again, I'd become conscious of an existence I couldn't see. I looked up at Mayuzumi. The hand she was eating with had stopped cold, and the spoon she was holding clattered against her bowl. She was shaking.
新聞ならあそこの棚に置いてあるよ。
Looked over, and sure enough, there it was. But it seemed really different from the last time I'd seen it. Seemed like it was patched up messily. In other words, it had been taped together after having been ripped to pieces before. Perhaps one of them is a descendant of Doc Brown, who's really good at doing a tape job on pieces of paper.
ああ、君が破いた新聞を君が有機道君になった時にみんなで元通りに直したんだよ。
Oh. Okay, Satoru tore it up. Okay.
私が？
それも覚えてないのか？
ええ。
It's true that the moment I read the newspaper article, I really was destroyed by the shock. I do remember using my strength to do something. But did I really rip it? Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. Maybe I did after all. Wasn't too sure whether I had ripped it or not. That part of my memory seemed so vague. Especially because at that exact moment my head had gone completely blank.
まあいいだろう。君のそういうところにはもう慣れた。
I'm already used to you being crazy. Don't give her sharp objects.
新聞のことは気にしない方がいい。あんなものはただのいたずらだろう。
Amogi said, his voice almost a groan.
そうとしか考えられない。
Yeah, somehow a prankster knew that the four of you would be there in a cabin on a plane crash. So, if it is a prankster, then they arranged the plane crash so they could make the article about the four survivors, which somehow they named it four survivors. And, yeah. They knew where they'd wind up at. Seems like something they should worry about. I'm just saying. Now, I'm really having my thoughts about Uni. They keep using the word trickster, and and I've seen the opening movie a few times because I don't always think to click start and move it off, so it always plays while I'm setting up. And while they're saying stuff like you know, from like the characters, they mentioned trickster for Uni. So I'm curious if he has anything to do with it. Here's a random idea. All this is Uni's doing. He's an alien. He's Q. Let's say he's Q. He's Q and he's come to screw with some Earth people because Picard's on vacation or something at the moment. So let's say that. And so he's like doing this timeline, body switching type stuff. Let's say that's what the story is about.
なんでよ、なんでそんな風に簡単に言い切れるのよ。
Mayuzumi slammed her bowl on the table, as if something she had been holding in until now suddenly exploded within her. I can't blame Yomogi for trying to downplay it. I mean, that's really hard to ignore that. Probably not a good idea to ignore such a thing, but you know, it's one of those things where if you try to prevent it extra hard, then you're gonna kind of cause it. One of those strange things, you know.
いたずらなわけないじゃない。いたずらだったとしたら、あの新聞を作ったやつは HAL18 便が墜落したことをあらかじめ知ってたってことになるのよ。私たち4人が助かることも、この避難小屋へたどり着くことも全部知ってたことになるのよ。預言者、予知能力者、それともラプラスの悪魔かしら。
They like to use that in here, don't they?
眉住
Let's go and read that. A concept proposed by Pierre-Simon Laplace, a French mathematician and philosopher. Suppose there exists a demon, that is, an entity that possesses the ability to know at a certain moment the state of all things in the universe. Then, no matter how brief this moment is, it would always be enough for the demon to unravel everything that happened in the past and will happen in the future. We know that pretty well from Never 7. So, they don't like to bring that up.
そもそも
I remember them ever
いた
doing
ずら
that
する理由は、
in
私たちを脅かす理由
Never,
は。
Remember Ever 17. The other one that I couldn't. The other one that was the only one I could say.
眉住落ち着け。
どっかでカメラでも回ってるっていうの？元祖びっくりカメラとか書かれたプラカード持ったおっさんがそのうち出てくるっていうの？
Speaking of Candid Camera, that was mentioned in Never 7 too. When were these games made? I can't remember when this one. Well, 2003 and 2004, wasn't it, for Never 7 and 17, right? For some reason, this one feels like it's made later. I was thinking like 2008. Can't really remember. Candid Camera is kind of an old reference, though. I remember watching it when I was like 8 or 9. I don't think it existed much after then. And here, I don't know if it's like a. Might have been mentioned in a comment on Never 7, but was this a actual reference that did the Japanese version actually say Candid Camera, or is this like an equivalent? What would be an equivalent for today? Punk'd or something? I've never watched Punk, but that's what Ashton Kutcher did, isn't it?
バカバカしい。
Mayuzumi snapped as she stared at
落
Yomogi.
ち着け眉住。君の言ってることは支離滅裂だ。この新聞は本物なのか偽
それは。
Mayuzumi went quiet all of a sudden. I guess that's a natural reaction. Newspaper article is real, then that means the three of us have already died. 6 days later, on January 17th, to believe that the newspaper article is real to believe that the newspaper article is real is the same as accepting our deaths. It's not that she believes it's fake, it's just that she doesn't want to believe it's real either. I can understand the conflict within Mayuzumi very clearly.
なあ眉住。仮にだ。あの新聞がいたずらじゃないとしよう。いたずらじゃないとしたら、それで説明がつくのか。わけのわからないことには変わりないだろう。未来の新聞がどうしてこんなところにあるんだ。堂々巡りだ。考えたってしょうがない。結論が出るわけではない。だったら忘れようじゃないか。いいかい、こう考えるんだ。これはどう解釈したって同じことなんだ。どのみち説明のつかないことなんだ。だったら都合のいいように捉えるんだ。あの新聞はただのいたずらで、僕たちは必ず生きて帰れると。それでいいじゃないか。な。
Very well.
忘れるわ。
よし。みんなもそれでいいよな。
ええ。うん。
Got a big worry. Got a big worry. Both of us nodded. I too felt the same as Yomogi. If it's something bad, then we might as well forget about it. In some ways, that's one of the strongest defense mechanisms that I have learned in life so far. You probably think so too. Anyway, I'm glad. I was worried about how bad the situation was going to get, but for now, at least everyone's panic has subsided. The panic that had been stirred up by that creepy piece of newspaper had now disappeared, as if forgotten, and that's good enough. Mayuzumi muttered as she picked up her blanket and made her way to the top bunk. The bowl she had slammed on the table just a while ago was completely empty. After a while, the rest of us finished our humble meals as well. After taking out his portable ashtray and putting out his cigarette, Yomugi stood up.
今日はもう遅い。火を絶やさないようにして交代で眠ろう。まずは僕が見張りをするから。
でも
いいから。君も寝なさい。
Slowly, I stood up, caught a glimpse of the watch on my right wrist. It was already approaching midnight. Oh. About to read that, Uni tugged on my hand, looked up at me with eyes like an abandoned kitten's. Couldn't help but smile gently at him. His face lit up immediately. With us both squeezed into the bottom bunk. Covering ourselves with blankets, we curled up into a ball. Soon I could hear Uni's quiet, peaceful breathing as he fell asleep. His sleeping face was as peaceful and adorable as an angel's. His body was warm. He really wanted to believe his warmth was not just a dream. Oh, I caught out to him as he sat with his back to me. After a short pause, closed my eyes. I said I couldn't fall asleep at all. Whenever I tried to be still, endless thoughts ran through my mind, going deeper and deeper, like an endless bog. Even if I kept thinking about it over and over again, I was still so far from coming up with an answer. I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. I really don't remember what time I started this. Hopefully it's not a short one, but I need to remember to notice last time that OBS actually does keep track of the time. I forgot the game is not high enough so I can see it. So, oh well. I'm liking this a lot better though. This seems like a much better way to do things than that way I was doing with Snagit. That's that's the name of that program. Seems a lot better. So, I'm having to get used to it. But anyway, do hope you folks enjoy, and I shall see you in the next one. Farewell there, folks.